In this video, I'd like to give you a first look at what I think is one of the most powerful aspects of onCampus for us, and that is the calendar. As I call it, a unified calendar, which means it unifies all the bits and pieces of information that are going on in the school. At least it unifies the information people put in it. So here I am on the green room landing page, and what I'm going to do is click on calendar to get to the calendar. From here, you can see that I've got the calendar shown by month, and you can show by week, you can show by day. But if I scroll a little bit here, you can see that there's a variety of information, and on the left-hand panel, if I scroll down, you can see the key to identifying what that information is. So in blue, I have assignments showing, and these are the assignments that I'm the parent of. These are the assignments from my course. As I am the parent of these two assignments, I can actually click on it. It sees the information, and look, I've already graded that one. How cool is that? I actually can go in from here, edit it, and make changes to the assignment right from the overall calendar. The schedule for my courses, and I can tell that they're my things because they're under my calendar, and any class events. So these would be other things besides assignments that I've entered into the class calendars. School calendars include academic days, very useful. Parent calendar, so you know what the parents can see, and then the games calendar, and that's a feed that comes out of athletics. Co-curriculars listed in here, especially things like drama productions, they appear typically under the school calendar, and they would also show here. So let's take a look at what we can do with this information right now. So instead of having it in a grid, you can show your calendar as a list. You can have an expanse of details for each item. Click it, and again, you get it more compressed. And when you do the details, it automatically jumps back into week mode, so I'm going to change it to month. And then this is the one that I think is going to end up being most useful for us next year. And that provides us with a feed of the information into our Google Calendars. Having said that, there are two different types of feeds that you can have. So a live feed pulls the information live out of the calendar and places it on top of your Google Calendar. Not into the Google Calendar, but on top of it. So you see it as an additional layer. The great thing about this is that as those calendars get updated, say the games change, say we have a speaker in and the timetable changes, those things get reflected live in what you see in your Google Calendar because it sits on top of the Google Calendar. The downside of that is that it does not embed into your Google Calendar, so it does not provide you and other people trying to arrange meeting times with you information about when you are or are not available. So things like your course schedule don't automatically fill the time on your Google Calendar if you're just using a feed. If you're actually embedding it, those things do show, and it's really important that we do all have our class schedules in our Google Calendars. So under my calendars, I can have the individual filter feeds. Do I want the assignments actually embedded in my Google Calendar? Personally, I'd probably have that as a feed because it doesn't mark whether I'm busy or not. Other people don't need to see that. The schedule, however, yeah, I'm going to want that embedded into my Google Calendar. Class events, I would also want those embedded in my Google Calendar to make sure I know, if it's a field trip or something. I can right-click on the schedule and copy the link address, and then importing that address as another calendar into your Google Calendar. And then there is a slightly more complicated way, really not that much more complicated, way of embedding your schedule and anything else into your Google Calendar. And again, I would highly recommend that you do an embedding of your schedule into the Google Calendar and then maybe a feed of things like the school calendar and your assignments. So I'm going to cancel out of that just so we have one more look. So again, back to this whole unified calendar, you can turn things off, turned off the parent's calendar, and I can turn it back on. We are still working on what sort of calendar information will be in here, but I felt it was important for you to have a general idea so when we start talking about entering assignments and things, you can see what impact it will have. So this is a pretty powerful place, both in terms of information that you will get from the rest of the school, as well as the information that is associated with the courses and the clubs you have. So that is a look at our unified calendar and gives you an idea of what we can do with it as long as we are entering our data in. And again, entering the assignments, entering your co-curriculars is extremely important to help make this more useful for everybody. As always, if you have any questions, concerns about on-campus, on-record things, be sure to let Arthur and I know, and I hope you have a great day.